Okay, the second speaker is Ms. Farida Abbasi, who is the chairperson and Pakistan coordinator for Youth for Human Rights. I understand this is quite a young...
Well, Youth for Human Rights International is a long-term organization. The organization I'm leading in Pakistan is Youth Together for Human Rights Education. I want to tell you something about Youth for Human Rights International, which is an organization. The basic purpose here is to educate people on human rights. And this organization is set up and is working across 80 countries of the world. They make people aware of human rights. Now, I don't know in this room how many people are aware of the 30 human rights. Could I have a show of hands? How many people know there are 30 human rights? I didn't know that till last year, I will admit that. And you see, whereas we are aware that there's so much violation occurring in the world today, the peaceful way forward is to make people aware of those rights. And it starts everywhere, in every home. Everyone has to know those rights, because those violations are occurring in homes too. So we are working as a group with Youth for Human Rights International to make sure that everybody in the world knows their human rights. Now in Pakistan, I had to begin with making people understand the word human. That is where it starts, because people are not aware that there is a distinction between how you treat a person, how you treat a machine, how you treat an animal. And that is where we have to begin, because society has gone to a point where we see atrocities being done or harm being done, and we walk past it. And it is our responsibility to see that our children know those 30 human rights, and they can actually say, this is wrong. When in a home a child is brought up and he's put to work at age 10, and he never learns that he has a right to education. He never learns that he has a right to play, and he's made to work and earn income for his parents or his family, or he's made to beg on the streets to earn money and pay money to the person who owns him. I think we each have a responsibility to make sure that people are made aware of their human rights. So my job in working as a Pakistan coordinator for Youth for Human Rights Education is that I should make sure people are aware. And the biggest and greatest asset we have is our youngsters. They are so full of enthusiasm. They want to learn and they want to help. And they work as volunteers. They go out and they teach the rural population, the urban population. They want to work and they want to teach people their rights. And each one of them can do something. If they know education is a right, they can go and educate a child. Every one of us can take an hour out in a week and educate the child. Is that not right? You can all spare a little bit of time and do that. And I think generally what we are finding in the work we are doing in Pakistan is that people are becoming aware that they have a role to play. If you see discrimination occurring and you just walk past it or you don't say anything, does that make you part of that discrimination? Yes, it does. So we are raising the awareness that you have to say something. You have to even frown, even if you don't say it, if it's not safe to say something, then at least you can frown upon it and say, well, okay, that is not right if you treat one sect or one religious minority group differently. Even in Pakistan, it's a Muslim country, we do know there's discrimination against other religions. And that awareness needs to be brought about. And the safest way forward, where we can stop this conflict, stop it being where suicide bombing is occurring, you know, all these things you can stop to a point with force, but the basic thing is education. If you bring about that education, if you bring about that awareness that we are all human and we should be treating each other with dignity and with respect, then I think there is a chance that we will bring a society where we all treat each other, with respect. What I'd like to do is to show you Youth for Human Rights International provides this information kit to anyone who goes on their website. The website is www.yhri.org. You can go there and order your free information kit, which gives you the DVD and the booklets free of cost. So you can start your activity wherever you are and educate people on human rights. I'm also providing online training to students so that they can really grasp each of the human rights and apply it in life. So I would like anybody here who's interested in working with us to bring about human rights, whether in the UK or in Pakistan or any part of the world, please contact me. I'll be happy to help. And any questions they have to answer them. I thank you for listening to me.
Thank you, Farida. I'd now like to move on to Mr. Nadeem Baksh, who's the Principal Associate of the Institute of Community Cohesion.
Hello. Just to give you an overview of what Institute Cohesion is, and to maybe link with the topic specifically about the war against terror in Pakistan. And really I'll be talking about the impact it has on community cohesion for Muslim communities here in the UK. The Institute of Community Cohesion was essentially established in 2005 after years of work and research done following the disturbances in northern towns in 2001, and linking into those 30 kind of human rights and violations does not necessarily happen overseas. In fact, many of the young men who were involved in some of those disturbances, in fact, for the first time they'd actually got involved in such a ruckus, were given sentences of up to 8 years. Now, whether this warrants a human rights abuse at the hands of the then Home Secretary is open to question. What was probably a misfortune for those that were involved was that it also coincided, well, the investigations coincided with the events of 9/11. So all of a sudden, initially, it was a crusade. It later became renamed as the War on Terror. We're seeing terminologies changing here in the UK. You may be aware that there was a report recently released about a select committee investigation into preventing violent extremism projects, which clearly stigmatise Muslims. Now, how this relates to our work, and specifically my work with the Institute of Community Cohesion, we've been very, very busy since 2006, trying to explain to local authorities who have been at the forefront of a lot of this preventing violent extremism work about the diversity of Muslim communities and how diverse they are. In fact, Britain probably has the most diverse Muslim population of any place in the world, and in fact, live in relative harmony. Hasn't been any real issues up until the focus was all of a sudden put onto Muslims. Of course, we all know there was pockets of issues. However, we've now done something like 40 reviews around the country. Muslim communities are different in every place. In fact, they reflect more the indigenous white cultures in their nuances, as opposed to anything that's linked to theology. It's more to do with economics. It's to do with opportunities in those particular places. We very early came to the conclusion that it has nothing to do with theology, this so-called process of radicalization or extremism. It's actually circumstantial. And we have done reviews in Pakistan. We travelled to Pakistan primarily because within the Muslim communities in Britain, there's some kind of key, well, not statistics, but more qualitative observations. Pakistani heritages actually constitute the majority of elected ethnic minority politicians in the country, let alone Muslims. In addition to that, we also have an increasingly politicized younger generation. And they have very strong maintained and retained links with Pakistan itself through remittances, through business, frequent travel, the sourcing of brides and grooms,